Welcome to the Unshackled Life Podcast. Real talk about faith, freedom, and following Jesus. I'm Dalen Woodard, and I'm glad you're here. Whether you've been walking with Jesus for years or you're just trying to figure out what's real in a noisy world, this space is for honest conversation, raw reflection, and truth that sets us free. Let's get into today's episode. I was thinking about the nature of God and grace and some lyrics that I love. Lyrics like, I want to go where the rivers cannot overflow me, where my feet are on the rock. That's from the song In Your Presence by Paul Wilbur. And songs that express how God is our safe place, a shelter from the storm. It's an important truth about God that His grace provides life, safety, security, and peace in the storms. But that truth might not look like we think it should. It was grace that saved all of humanity by saving Noah and his family from the flood. That ark was literally a place where the rising waters could not overflow them, and a shelter from the storm planned by and provided by God. The ark is an example of amazing grace, but I can't help but wonder how long it felt like it. Think about it. It rained for 40 days and nights, and the most and strongest waters were bursting up from the earth's core as the world tore apart. Despite the waves and rough water and all the struggles within the ark that would come with all that, I would probably have died from seasickness. I have little doubt that it felt like grace and being saved from the destruction. But they were in that ark for about 11 more months. It stopped raining, but the waters kept rising for another 4-ish months, and then the earth stayed flooded for about 7 more. They were on that ark. No rudder, no steering, no control. Rising and dropping with the waves. Dealing with the animals, the stink, the work of cleaning the stalls and feeding everything. The uncertainty of what was to come, the dreariness of living in a box for a year, and that's all without even considering family dynamics. How long did it feel like grace before it began to feel like, how long, O Lord, must I endure this? I think we often imagine places of grace where we can't be overflowed, places of refuge from the storm, being nice beaches with calm waters and blue skies and birds singing while dolphins play. But what if it's a year of seasickness in the dark with the stench of animals and feces filling the dark and gloomy box that feels more like a cage than a shelter? What if the grace of the shelter actually requires more work and struggle than life before the shelter? In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus faced his greatest moment of struggle, agonizing over what was to come until he burst blood vessels and sweated drops of blood. But as he surrendered to the will of the Father, God strengthened him. That's grace. He rose from there with a joy that enabled him to endure. But grace didn't mean less lashes. It didn't mean being spared the rejection, the mocking, the abuse. It didn't mean he didn't feel the pain of the nails or of his bones being pulled out of socket. It didn't make the death comfortable. No, it was agonizing, long and brutal, and totally covered by grace. Grace doesn't mean the enemy, the storm, the struggle, or the pain are gone. Grace doesn't mean it gets easy or that we get what we want. Grace is God's love and provision that enables us to endure and overcome. And I am grateful for it. Thanks for joining me for this episode of the Unshackled Life podcast. If it encouraged, blessed, or challenged you, consider following the podcast and sharing it with someone you feel it might bless or help. Be blessed, and remember, when you fix your thoughts on God and build your thinking on the foundation of His truth, God fixes your thoughts.